We all love to rewatch movies like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, and Indiana Jones, but the 1980s gave us so much more than that. During that time, many other films didn't get the same spotlight. That's why today we're shining the light on 20 truly incredible 80s movies that deserve another watch, maybe even a spot on your favorites list. Let's begin. The Zero Boys, 1986. Did you know that this film has one of Hans Zimmer's earliest scores? 1986's The Zero Boys is an interesting film that often gets overlooked, even though it mixes slasher horror with action in a way that feels very 80s, also ahead of its time. The story follows a group of friends who are into paintball. After they win a big tournament, they celebrate by going to a secluded cabin deep in the woods. Got Steve, who's the charming leader of the group, and there's Larry and Risa. What starts as a fun getaway quickly becomes a fight for their lives, and they realize they're not alone. A bunch of heavily armed killers show up and start hunting them down, forcing them to use their paintball skills for actual survival. At first, the Zero Boys focuses on the friends' teamwork and competitive spirit, but as the horror begins, it doesn't hold back on creating suspense. The director, Nico Mastorakis, who's known for his exploitation-style films, brings a distinct visual look. Despite its unique qualities, The Zero Boys remains largely forgotten. This is mainly because it had a minimal theatrical release and was lumped in with many other low-budget horror movies from that decade. So if you're a fan of 80s horror and action, and you're searching for something a little off the beaten path, The Zero Boys offers an intense experience that shouldn't have been forgotten. April Fool's Day, 1986. A bunch of college friends get together for a weekend getaway at a private island mansion owned by the rich and kinda mysterious Muffy St. John. Like the title hints, these friends are known for pulling off big practical jokes. Muffy promises a weekend full of pranks. But the fun and games quickly turn dark when guests start to vanish or turn up dead, making the remaining friends wonder if there's a real killer among them. What makes April Fool's Day so special is how well it plays with audience expectations. The director, Fred Walton, who also made When a Stranger Calls, makes it hard to tell what's a genuine scare and what's just another elaborate prank. The big reason April Fool's Day gets overlooked comes down to its unique twist ending. Without giving anything away, this ending changes how you see the entire movie. Its cleverness might have been a bit too sophisticated for what people usually expected from the genre at the time, leading some to dismiss it as not scary enough. Turk 182, 1985. Timothy Hutton, who plays Jimmy Lynch, is a young man who secretly becomes a city hero to secure support for his older brother, Terry Lynch. Terry is a decorated firefighter whose life falls apart after he's badly injured while saving a child. The city mayor refuses to grant him his pension and benefits, leaving him broke and bitter. Feeling angry about the unfairness and the endless paperwork, Jimmy starts a series of increasingly elaborate and public acts of civil disobedience, signing his graffiti with the pseudonym Turk 182. Jimmy's smart and funny stunts, like tagging famous landmarks, interrupting public events, and projecting messages onto buildings, gets the public excited and exposes the mayor's corruption. Turk 182 didn't do so well at the box office, and for most people, it's a little out of the loop. My Science Project, 1985. My Science Project focuses on Michael Harlan, who's a bit of a slacker high school student. Desperate to pass his science class, he rummages through an old military junkyard looking for a last-minute idea. He ends up finding a glowing orb that turns out to be an alien device capable of ripping holes through time and space. When Michael and his friends accidentally turn it on, they unleash a flood of historical figures, futuristic vehicles, and even prehistoric creatures right into their suburban town and high school. It's a fantastic showcase of special effects, practical and optical. Dinosaurs stomping through hallways, Roman gladiators fighting cave dwellers, futuristic soldiers showing up, all leading to a final battle inside the school. My Science Project probably faded into the background partly because it came out in a year absolutely jam-packed other massive sci-fi and teen films, like Back to the Future, The Goonies, and Weird Science. While it shares some similar ideas with these movies, it just doesn't hit the same level of success with critics or at the box office. The story, while fun, can get a bit tangled, and some reviewers thought it felt a little too familiar. The Ice Pirates, 1984. Fun fact, The domed city seen in some shots of the Ice Pirates is the same model used in the 1976 film Logan's Run. The Ice Pirates follows a crew of space pirates led by the charming rogue, Jason. Their usual plan is to attack spaceships to steal their precious cargo of ice. After one such raid, Jason and his team get caught and sold into slavery. They manage to escape with Princess Karina and set off on a mission to find a place called the Seventh World, a planet rumored to be overflowing with water, a secret fiercely protected by the evil Templar Empire. It's packed with ridiculous gadgets, strange alien races, and genuinely hilarious one-liners. The Ice Pirates likely faded because its unusual mix of broad comedy and space adventure didn't fit neatly into any one genre. Critics at the time had mixed feelings, with some finding its humor too silly, its plot too confusing. It also came out after Star Wars, but chose to be a parody rather than a serious imitation, which might have turned off some viewers looking for more traditional sci-fi. Hell Comes to Frogtown, 1988. Starring the legendary wrestler Roddy Piper, this film really shows off the low-budget sci-fi action spirit that defined the 1980s. The story takes place on a future Earth that's been wrecked by nuclear war and environmental disaster. Because of all that, most of the men are now unable to have children. Sam Hell, played by Roddy Piper, is one of the few guys left who can father kids. He gets captured by a group of tough female scientists, force him to become a breeding stud. To make sure he cooperates, they strap an explosive chastity belt. Sam's mission is to rescue a bunch of fertile women from a mutant-filled area called Frogtown, which is, as you probably guessed, full of intelligent humanoid frogs. Yeah, that's a real thing that happens in this movie. Anyways, Roddy Piper gives a surprisingly good performance with some funny moments. The design of the frog mutants, even though it's clearly low budget, is creative. Hell Comes to Frogtown probably slipped out of the public eye because of its definite niche appeal and its limited time in theaters, plus the fact that it was seen as a B movie. Its crazy plot and campy style meant that it was never going to be a huge mainstream hit, but we still think it's fun anyways.
Don't know who I am. Of course you don't. I know you.
Square Dance, 1987. This film was also known as Home is Where the Heart Is. It tells the story of Gemma Dillard, 13-year-old played by Winona Ryder in one of her early roles. Gemma is a bright and lively girl living in rural Texas. Feeling stuck in her small town, Gemma decides to go to Dallas to visit her mom, hairdresser she hasn't seen much of, hoping for a more exciting life. In the city, she ends up forming an unexpected friendship with Jason, played by Rob Lowe, an older, troubled young man who works as a male prostitute. Square Dance likely slipped out of public memory because of its serious subject matter and quiet, character-focused style, which contrasted sharply with the flashier, more commercial movies of the mid-80s. Night of the Comet, 1984. Two sisters, Reggie and Sam, survive a massive global disaster. A comet flies by Earth and it either turns almost everyone into red dust or into flesh-eating zombies. Luckily, Reggie spent the night in a steel movie projection booth and Sam was in a metal shed. They come out to find Los Angeles strangely empty, but these sisters aren't helpless. They use their shopping mall savvy and good aim with firearms to get around the deserted city, trying to meet other survivors and whatever's left of humanity. The dialogue is sharp and hilarious, giving each character a distinct and memorable personality. Directed by Tom Eberhardt, creates a realistic atmosphere of urban emptiness. While Night of the Comet did gain cult status, it often gets overlooked by bigger horror and sci-fi films from that time. It deserves recognition for its fresh take on the apocalypse genre. The Legend of Billie G, 1985. No, don't confuse it with Michael Jackson's famous song. This is a teen action drama with a strong social message. It's about young people rebelling and fighting for what's right, stuff like that. Billie Jean Davy is a spirited and independent teenager from Texas. Her life changes when a rich local bully, Hubie Pyatt, steals her younger brother Binks' scooter and then trashes it. When Billie Jean confronts Hubie, he tries to attack her. During the struggle, Binks accidentally shoots. Scared they won't get a fair trial, Billie Jean and her friends, Putter and Ophelia, go on the run. Without meaning to, their story spreads across the country, become accidental folk heroes. Looking at how the media can shape public perception and create heroes and villains feels especially relevant even today. The theme song, Invincible by Pat Benatar, reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Dead End Drive-In, 1986. Dead End Drive-In is a sharp commentary on the youth, the media, and the experience of being locked up, but outside of specific cult movie fans, it's mostly been forgotten. The story is set in a future where society is falling apart. Jimmy and his girlfriend Carmen head to a local drive-in theater for a night out. They have no idea that this particular spot, called the Star Drive-In, is a prison for people who are left behind, unemployed, and are rebellious teens that the government doesn't want around. Once you're in, your car gets taken and the inmates are kept quiet with endless junk food, old B-movies, and government propaganda. When Jimmy tries to break out, he finds out the shocking truth about this so-called dead end. Directed by Brian Trenchard Smith, known for his action films, this one paints a vivid and disturbing picture of a society that has figured out how to control its rebellious youth without resorting to direct violence. The drive-in itself becomes a miniature version of how society controls people, where freedom is an illusion and any attempt to fight back is brutally crushed. It examines consumerism, how the media manipulates us, and the fight for personal freedom against a controlling system.
With Kedolia, with Kenya Choir, with
Vibes, 1988. Vibes is about Sylvia Pickle, who's a colorful and eccentric psychic from New York. Her powers get her into trouble. Then there's Nick Deasy, who's also gifted psychically and can touch things to see their past, but he's much more sarcastic. Both of them are hired by Harry Buscemi for what seems like an easy job, finding a missing gold statue in the mountains of Ecuador. What starts as a simple treasure hunt quickly turns into a journey filled with ancient spirits, other psychics trying to get in their way, and a powerful source of psychic energy that could change the world. A big reason this movie works is the fantastic chemistry between Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum. Cyndi Lauper, in one of her rare starring roles, brings her signature lively personality and great comedic timing to Sylvia. She makes the character a lovable and unique hero. And Jeff Goldblum perfectly matches Cyndi's energy. Their playful conversations and the way their romance grows are at the heart of the film. Vibes wasn't a straightforward comedy or a pure action-adventure, so it fell somewhere in between. Critics had mixed opinions and it didn't do too well at the box office, leading to its disappearance from most conversations.
Talk to me!
I'm a failure!
Roadie, 1980. Travis W. Redfish is a simple, good-hearted truck driver from Texas. Through a bunch of chance events, he becomes a highly sought-after roadie for some of the biggest names in music. At first, he's motivated by his crush on the ambitious and free-spirited Lola Bush. But Travis quickly realizes he has a natural talent for organizing and solving problems for big touring bands, making him part of their shows. Roadie features a terrific lineup of real-life musical artists playing themselves, like Alice Cooper, Blondie, Roy Orbison, and Hank Williams Jr. This makes it feel more authentic and acts like a cool musical time capsule. Meatloaf gives a surprisingly heartwarming performance as Travis, balancing his larger-than-life persona with a genuine sincerity. The Secret of NIMH, 1982. The Secret of NIMH was directed by Don Bluth, who was a Disney employee before establishing his own studio. It tells the gripping story of Mrs. Brisby, a field mouse who's timid yet tenacious. When the farmer plows his field, their house is on the verge of being destroyed, and her son, Timothy, is seriously ill with pneumonia. Mrs. Brisby courageously seeks assistance from the enigmatic rats of NIMH. These intelligent, technologically sophisticated rats are also aware of secrets about her late husband, Jonathan, and a dubious scientific experiment. By the way, NIMH stands for the National Institute of Mental Health. The Secret of NIMH is special because of its hand-drawn animation. It's smooth, full of tiny details, and often pretty dark. Bluth and his team pushed the boundaries of animation, creating a visually rich world with detailed backgrounds, characters that convey a lot of emotion, and really moody lighting. The voice actors, like Elizabeth Hartman as Mrs. Brisby and John Carradine as Nicodemus and the Great Owl, do a fantastic job of giving the characters real depth. The Secret of NIMH probably didn't get as famous as some other films because being an independent movie meant it didn't have the huge marketing budget that Disney films did, so fewer people heard about it. Still, it absolutely deserves to be known as a masterpiece of animation and storytelling. Return to Oz, 1985. Think of this one as an unofficial follow-up to The Wizard of Oz from 1939. The The story picks up about half a year after Dorothy Gale got back from her first trip to Oz. She can't stop talking about it, which worries her Aunt Em and Uncle Henry, so they take her to a mental asylum to get cured of her imagination with electroshock therapy. Oh no. However, a strange girl helps Dorothy to get away before they can take any action. Before you know it, Dorothy has returned to Oz, but this time things are different. Because of the evil Gnome King and the eerie Princess Mombi, the wasteland is deserted. What makes Return to Oz so unsettling is how it changes the happy-go-lucky vibe of the first movie. The real-life puppets and animatronics for characters like Tick-Tock, Jack, Pumpkinhead, and the Gump are clever and impressive for the time. People went in expecting another cheerful musical, but they got a shock. Topics like being institutionalized and heads getting removed made it a tough sell, especially for kids. The Brave Little Toaster, 1987. The Brave Little Toaster is all about a group of appliances that can talk and move. Toaster, the leader, Lampy, a desk lamp, Radio, a dramatic and grumpy radio, Kirby, a vacuum cleaner, and Blanky, a nervous electric blanket. They live together in a quiet cabin, but then their master Rob moves away and they get scared that he's left them behind. Because they're loyal, they decide to go on a risky journey through the wild and confusing human world to find him. What makes The Brave Little Toaster so captivating is how it mixes fun, whimsical animation with some grown-up ideas and real feelings. The movie does an amazing job of exploring themes like feeling abandoned, sticking by your friends, getting old and becoming useless, and the scary thought of being replaced. The Wildlife, 1984. This one was directed by Art Linson and written by Cameron Crowe, the same guy who wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The film follows a bunch of kids who have just finished high school along with other young adults as they try to figure out their first taste of independence in the Los Angeles suburbs. Unlike many other teen movies that focus on high school fun or make the transition to adulthood seem super romantic, this movie digs into the real anxieties of being a young adult. It shows the boredom, the jobs that aren't exciting, the relationships that don't last, and the struggle to figure out who you are. Part of the reason The Wildlife didn't become well-known or a big hit was that it was released after Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Some might have assumed it was merely copying or less iconic because of its similar themes and style. Additionally, it wasn't marketed to the same broad teen audience due to its more adult themes and R rating. While Fast Times became a cult classic, The Wildlife didn't get that same recognition. Eddie Van Halen composed and performed the film's score, and an early version of Van Halen's 1992 song Right Now was featured in the movie. Seven Minutes in Heaven, 1986. 7 Minutes in Heaven focuses on three really close friends in a small town in Ohio. There's Natalie, Polly, and Jeff, Natalie's sensitive guy friend who secretly has a crush on her. Over one important summer, they all deal with the tricky stuff of crushes, first loves, fitting in, and wanting to be accepted. A big part of the story is Natalie's changing relationship with Jeff and her new feelings for an older, popular boy. The director, Linda Pfefferman, did a fantastic job showing adolescent emotions with such understanding. Jennifer Connelly, in one of her early prominent roles, perfectly shows Natalie's innocence and how she slowly starts to understand the world. The film beautifully captures those quiet moments and unspoken feelings that are so key to young friendships and crushes. Ticket to Heaven, 1981. Ticket to Heaven is a powerful drama that gives you a harsh look into the world of cults and how they use mind games to get new people to join. The movie is based on the book Moonwebs, Journey into the Mind of a Cult by Josh Freed. It tells the story of David Kessner, who seems like a regular, well-adjusted young Jewish guy living in Portland, Oregon. After his best friend, Danny, dies, David goes to San Francisco to visit Danny's girlfriend. She's joined this communal farm run by a really charismatic leader. David gets pulled into the group, at first thinking it's a supportive community. He soon discovers, however, that it's actually a deceptive cult. As their desperation grows, his parents and friends finally hire someone to try and save him. The film's disturbing and realistic depiction of cult recruitment and brainwashing is what sets it apart. It doesn't try to be sensational. Instead, it focuses on the sneaky step-by-step process of isolating people, making them lose their sense of who they are, and replacing their own beliefs with the cult's rules. Since it was an independent movie, it didn't have much money for advertising. However, it absolutely absolutely deserves recognition for its brave and honest look at a deeply disturbing problem in society. It's a movie that received great reviews and remains relevant even today. Odd Jobs. This movie stars Paul Reiser and Robert Townsend as Max and Dwight, two best friends who are always out of work and totally desperate to earn some cash. They somehow stumble into a bunch of really weird, increasingly ridiculous odd jobs through a shady employment agency, and naturally, this leads them into hilariously disastrous situations. From being security guards who accidentally stop a big crime to trying to clean a mansion that gets more and more wrecked, their misadventures spiral into pure chaotic comedy. Young Warriors, 1983. Young Warriors, which you might also know as The Graduates of Malibu High, is an impactful vigilante film from 1983. It shows a more cynical side of being a young person in the 80s, totally different from the upbeat teen comedies of that era. A group of college students who, after seeing their friend brutally murdered, decide to get justice themselves when the official system fails them. Kevin leads the group, but there's also Allison, who's out for revenge, Jonathan, played by James Van Patten, who's struggling with morality. Their mission for revenge becomes a dangerous game of hide-and-seek with the criminal underworld, forcing them to face the harsh truths and results of their actions. Instead of just making it look cool, this movie shows the mental toll of being a vigilante. While their initial motivation is clear, the characters soon run into the complicated moral issues of the path they've chosen. Young Warriors got lost in time because of its heavy subject matter and released during a period where there were tons of exploitation and action films. It didn't have big stars back then, and it didn't get much praise from critics or a significant marketing push. It was shown late night on cable, or it went straight to video, which kept it from reaching more people. Unlike a lot of movies that have clear good guys and bad guys, Young Warriors makes you think about the consequences of your choices. Marvelous verdict. So there you have it, our list of 20 1980s movies that are begging for your attention. How many of these gems do you remember? Are there any on this list that you're excited to rewatch or maybe even discover for the first time? Let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, let us know if we missed any of your favorite underrated 80s gems. Who knows, maybe we'll make a video on it in the future. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.